I'm fucked up, homie, you fucked up, but if God got us, then we gon' be alright.
Nigga, we gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright.
What's the word, people? It's your boy Jmuny89boi here with Outlast 2 review, and for a sequel to one of my favorite horror games of all time. You're probably wondering what I think about the game. Well, you're about to find out. Story. Outlast 2 is about Blake Langerman and his wife Lynn Langerman, who are investigating a murder in the Arizona desert. On the way there, your helicopter crash and things just go all the way to hell from there. You get encountered with this Christian religious code and things just get pretty fucking crazy. The story it's kind of all over the place, but that's what I would say if I didn't look up more about the documents and all that other shit, because the story is actually pretty interesting when you collect the documents and everything. And I don't want to spoil anything. I had to say play the game for yourself, and then if the end don't make no sense, look up the documents, because there's some pretty deep shit with this story. Red Barrels did a good job of actually hiding a story, and normally I don't condone looking for a story in a video game, but Outlast 2 is an exception. Gameplay. Outlast 2 is very similar to Outlast 1, but it's a sequel, you know, what you expect. Despite a few differences though, such as you having to acquire bandages to heal major damage done to Blake, or your character actually running out of stamina if you run too long instead of having unlimited stamina like Miles and Waylon in the first Outlast. Other than that, it's pretty much the same thing as Outlast 1. You'll be running from enemies, hiding from enemies, getting killed by enemies, getting the shit scared out of your enemies. But at least the game isn't afraid to show its bloody nature though, like the first one was famous for. Likes. The game is absolutely gorgeous, and I thought Outlast 1 looked pretty good for its time, but Red Barrels has definitely upped their game for the second one. This is definitely one of the best looking horror games that I played. Probably one of the best looking games this console generation that I played before, and it's like this on all platforms. No downgrades and nothing, and the game is optimized to a T. Dislikes. I don't like how you have to look down to see how many batteries you have. I wish they would have kept it like Outlast 1, where the battery count was right next to your battery energy. Also, in I Core Angry Joe, this game can get pretty frustrating at times. If you don't go the one place that the developers want you to go, you will die. I feel like Red Barrel should take a page out of Arcane Studios' book when like Dishonored. You should give multiple pathways to get to the objective, not just one, because that can create a lot of frustration when you don't go the right way and you end up dying. And then when you finally find it, you're like, oh, it was right there. I just feel like it should be multiple pathways to get to the objective to, you know, ease it up a little bit. Verdict. Outlast 2 is one of my favorite games of the year. It's probably the best horror game I've played this year so far. Definitely better than Resident Evil 7 if you ask me. So I'm happy to give it a 9 out of 10. I recommend the game at full price. It's $30. And if you want the first game and this DLC with it, just pay the $40 version for Outlast Trinity. It's on disc, and I'm pretty sure it's on digital release as well. But yeah, Outlast 2, it's pretty great. The game even has these little weird school sessions that I didn't mention. They start off okay at first, but like later on, like halfway through the game, those sessions get intense and they're pretty scary. Like Outlast 2 had me terrified, and any game that makes me so scared to the point to where I don't want to play is an automatic win for me. Now I want to address one thing. People say Outlast 2 is too heavy relying on trial and error, and I do agree with that, but that's part of the series. Outlast 1 was the exact same way, which just makes me look at people like, where the hell were you? Outlast 1 was the exact same way. You had to go through a bunch of trial and error, and Outlast 1 had a lot more effects because you had to activate or get a certain amount of things before you could die. So it was really a lot of trial and error gameplay in Outlast 1. So for people to critique Outlast 2 so heavily about it, I just don't think that's fair that the people to just come at the game like that. Like, it's a part of the series. The first game was like that. You know, on your first playthrough, you're not going to know where you're supposed to go. You're going to die. That's part of the gameplay. But that's just me. Outlast 2, 9 out of 10. Pick this game up if you want a good horror game. It's cheap. Go ahead. It's be a boy, Jmuny89boi. I'm out.
We gon' be alright.
And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. Bahamas, I be looking at you from the face down. One Mac 11, even room with the bass down. Scheming, and let me tell you about my life. Painkillers only put me in the twilight. We're pretty